I might be the only analyst with real numbers on Ren Protocol. Why? Do I think I'm the only one because Ren is new and I've been doing this manually since launch? I don't think anybody else has these numbers. And these numbers tell the story, but they also bring up a lot of questions. I really want to get Loong, Wang on this show to answer these questions. If you guys like Ren and want answers to the questions, maybe you can, post in his comments for him to watch this video, come on my show, or on Telegram. There's the Ren Protocol channel. He has his own channel. I tried reaching. I got no reply from anybody. But also my last video wasn't as specific as this one. Okay, so let's dig in here. Now, this is also, if you don't know much about Ren, or Ren is new to you, there's a ton of podcasts. There was just a good one on Trustless State at Twitter, Trustless State. He had a good video interviewing Loong. There's a lot of information out there. I'm sort of just jumping into the deep end here because everybody else talks about the basics. My questions are in the deep end. So let's talk about the numbers that I look at here on a daily basis. Okay, so the way Ren works is they have nodes, and you need enough decentralized nodes to maintain the security of the network. The reason people will run a node in the long run is because that node earns dividends on transactions or on the value of the Ren protocol, the amount of activity on the Ren protocol. So I'm looking at these earnings and using that to determine some sort of value. Now, they have their website. This is the Ren. I'll put the links in below this video so you can find these. But this main page here. Let's move this up a little bit. This main page here on the network shows you how much value is locked in Ren, meaning how much Bitcoin, and it's almost all Bitcoin being locked up, and how much is bonded to the nodes to, secure, the security of the network. The nodes secure the network. And you need enough value in the nodes. If the value to get a node was really, really inexpensive compared to all the value locked in Ren, well, then maybe enough, rogue or bad nodes could launch and try to attack the network. I think this network is very far from being risky. It's not at all. But when you're looking at a 5-year, 10-year time horizon, then there's a lot of questions. And then we may need, at this growth rate, it's only been open for a couple months. It's only launched a couple months ago, and it's already locked 38 million, right? And there's a lot of activity here. This thing could get really big. The model better work, okay? So I look at, back to this. Now, if you switch to this tab, Dark Nodes, it shows how much all the nodes, there's 1,100 nodes, and total earned of all the nodes is this amount. So I take that, right, here's the total amount, and I track it every couple days here. On the 10th, it was this much. So then I can see how much the nodes made per day, which is the 14th minus the 10th, and divided by 4, because that was 4 days. See? I got this here. So that I've been tracking how much it makes per day. And it's certainly been trending up, right? Right? So it's rather volatile on a day-to-day basis. And at some point, maybe I'll start looking at this month to month. But here you can look at how much the node makes per day. And again, we're trending up. This is not going through the roof, so to speak, but it was mostly under $1, and now it's mostly over $1 per day. And then I also translate that into, well, how much is that per year? How much is a node making per year? And you have to compare that to determine your node dividend, how much it costs to get a node. A node requires you to buy 100,000 or to stake 100,000 Ren onto your node. So right now at 29 cents, it costs $29,000 to have a node. And at this pace, you're going to make $582 on that this year, which is a dividend of 2%. Not horrible. We looked at Kyber, 2% dividend. Look at ZRX, 2%. I mean, okay, not horrible. And it's growing really quickly. So that's not bad. Okay? Now I also look at these numbers from an actual node that I'm running, and I compare, and it's pretty accurate. Now, one of the things is the dividends too are earned in Bitcoin, and so if the price of Bitcoin goes up and down, it affects how much you're making. Now, another thing I've been looking at is how much is locked on the network, and let's compare the fees to the amount locked, because this is where the long-term risk comes in, and this is where I have a lot of questions. And again, I do not believe there is any risk in the short run. And I say that, so here's the thing, one thing to keep in mind with security is, we talk about with blockchains, right? A lot of you may know about the 51% attack. The 51% is sort of a mathematical thing that if someone controls more than 50% of the network, theoretically they can attack the network. In reality, it's actually expensive and it's not that easy, and you'd want a lot more than 50% to do it, and there's some issues. And we've seen there's a lot of networks out there. Ethereum Classic is a classic stupid one that was just attacked again for a couple million, but it's still out there. Like, there's so many blockchains now that you could do a 50%, 51% attack to, and nobody is, because it's actually not that easy. So it's really vulnerable at a higher level. The point being, the point at which something is mathematically possible to be attacked is not the same as sort of realistically able to be attacked, or able to be attacked in a way that would threaten its long-term viability. So I don't think it could be attacked in even theoretical at this point. But again, with these growth rates and looking at it as a long-term investment, what's the plan here? Because the amount locked is going straight up, whereas the fees earned, not straight up. Up, but not straight up, which means we're on a long-term pace to have a lot locked up in this network without the fees to allow enough nodes or enough value to be locked into nodes to protect it possibly in a year or two. And I've got more questions on that, but first let me show you the numbers here. So here's the amount locked, and then the fees. Remember, that was the number down here, how much we were earning per day and per year. And I took that and I divide, which number did I do here? Okay, so how much it makes per year versus how much is locked. And so we would want to see the percentage of fees going up. It's volatile. It's early in the game. I only started tracking this number somewhat recently, but not going straight up. This I'd want to see up. And the amount bonded, I look at the amount locked compared to the amount bonded, and this is not bad. This we want to see. We don't want to see the amount locked going up much faster than the amount of value bonded on the nodes. And again, what that means is, so how much Bitcoin is locked up in the Ren protocol is the amount locked compared to the amount of value in the Ren token on the nodes bonded to protect it. So for example, if there was, $2 billion of Bitcoin locked in the nodes, and the total value in all the nodes was only, 2 million, then you'll be like, geez, why don't I go buy $4 million worth of nodes, I'll own 60% of the network, then I can attack it and steal $4 billion worth of Bitcoin, right? That's an extreme example. Again, we're nowhere near that. But what is the plan to protect against that, right? And I'm going to get to some questions with that, but let me just finish my numbers here. I also am tracking fees as a percent locked. Oh, this, sorry, this is so confusing. So this was fees. This one here was fees compared to locked, the percentage of fees to how much Bitcoin is locked. This is the fees. Wait a second, I've got the same number here, but these are not the same, right? Fees locked. One is supposed to be fees bonded. F2 divided by L2. F2 divided by L2. Okay. I want one is to bond it. This one's supposed to be bonded. I tell you, I find a mistake every time I go into these damn things. I'm quite sorry. Okay, so this is supposed to be N. Whoops. So what we're looking at here is what is the fees as a percent of how much is bonded on the network, which really tells you, is that like the dividend? Fees. It should be related. Honestly, I'm tracking all these numbers. Some of this is new. I don't even know what I'm looking at. But here's my question. I just saw an interview with Wang on what is that? That show called with David Hoffman and the name of the other guy on the show who I like as well, Ryan. Anyways, listen. Wang was saying that they don't really want people locking up too much onto the network. Like just they're thinking they just want it for transactions. People go in and out. So they don't want the locked number to be going straight up is kind of what he said. Now I was surprised by this because I think that's an awesome market to have, right? And I thought they did have a plan for that because as somebody, I want to lock up Bitcoin. I want to use Bitcoin on the Ethereum network. How am I going to do it? I got to use WBTC, which is a custodial thing. I like Ren because it's decentralized. I want to use Ren BTC instead of WBTC. Now I understand on Compound there's only WBTC, so I could go from Bitcoin to Ren to WBTC. But in the long run, I don't know. I like Ren BTC to just leave it in that and leave it locked. But that leads to this problem. And right now, Ren makes all of its fees from people converting BTC into Ren BTC and making money when it converts from Ren BTC back to BTC. If you just turn it into Ren BTC and let it sit there and be locked on the network, Ren isn't earning anything from that. However, there is an option that they could dilute your Ren BTC over time. Let's say take a fee of 1% a year. So in other words, you lock one BTC, turn it into Ren BTC, and when you take it out a year from now, you only get back 99% of your BTC. It ceases to be a 1-to-1 ratio. So that would be a way to fund the nodes who are locking up a lot of BTC. But then the question is, how does that work exactly? Okay, because, well, if one Ren BTC is locked up, it's only been locked up for a minute, and another Ren BTC has been locked up for a year, and there was some sort of fee, then does that make Ren BTC non-fungible in that, well, I want to buy one that's new, because if I cash it out, I'm going to lose 1% on the cash out because it's been locked up for a year. I hope, the problem is most of you are not following me. I've turned it off already. For those of you who are hanging with, thank you. And again, if you want to be a long-term investor in Ren, we need answers to these questions. And that's why I hope Mr. Wang will come on my show. So, if Ren is only used, right? So look at these things. The black line is how many transfers back and forth. Right now, Ren is trying to make their money just on the amount of transferring that goes on. And, you know, it's only since May. And you can see it's up a lot, jumped in June. It's up, but it's been flat-ish. The only thing that's going straight up is the amount remaining locked in Ren. Yet Ren does not earn any fees from those locked tokens. So what is the plan there? How do we make that work? I need details. Another thing that would give me concern here too is I think, to me, this is all about, the reason I got excited about Ren is BTC on Ethereum. That sounds like that could be pretty cool, right? Now I have so there's two issues. One is, again, listening to Wang talk, they want to be interoperable on many different chains. That might be a great idea. He's probably a lot smarter than me, but I don't know. Is there any activity on any of these other chains? Maybe Ren should be just focused 100% on this locking up BTC game for now, because that's where all the excitement is. I mean, also, you know, they're locking up. What is going on here? Oh, I want to go here. You know, they're locking up Zcash and BCH. Why BCH, right? But again, you look at the difference. These are like nothing, and then they start working with other chains. That's also nothing. Bitcoin on Ethereum, that's the killer app. That has huge number potential. So I don't know that I love that they're focusing on other chains instead of focusing on how can Ren be the decentralized option for leaving Bitcoin locked on Ethereum. I love that. But I had another question. What was I going to say? So I didn't like, they're trying to go for other chains, and I had another question. Don't remember. What else? I mean, you know, the other question too is, what integrations are they working on? Because you can see here, you know, they got just this Ren bridge would just let you convert BTC to Ren BTC and use the other two, and then Curve, which I believe is facilitating this thing where you can go right from BTC to WBTC. And those are the only two apps. What's coming next? What are they working on? Because I think this is where a lot of additional volume comes from. So bottom line here, regarding Ren, we're seeing the good news is, you know, the growth is you know, this thing works. It launched, immediately went up. We're seeing a lot of use. It works wonderfully. And, you know, the token price, I mean, let's look at it here. You know, most people love investments that go up in price. I like things when they're down. You know, I don't like buying things when they're expensive. This 28 cents scares me, but I'm not ready to let go. I mean, you can see here where we're at. This thing has gone straight up. And for good reason. The network has been accepted by the public. It has adoption, rapidly growing adoption. It works, and the structure of it so far is working. Paying a 2% dividend on the node with this growth rate, we're okay, right? I'm not worried about it. So I like Ren. I'm not, although it's gone up, you know, whatever it is, 7x, right? What is, if you know, 5 cents to 30 cents, you know, it's gone up 6x. I don't know if I'm taking money off the table just yet, but I'm keeping an eye on it. And if I want to stay in this thing, I got a lot of questions. So hopefully I can get someone from Ren Protocol who knows what's going on to come on my show when I do my next Ren video. Hopefully we'll have someone here to answer some questions. Or if you don't want to come on my show, we could talk privately. You know, I'm fine with that, just so I can get answers and then I can share it with people or whatever. if there are secrets, although you're not going to tell me a secret, right? Anyways, I just want to learn. I want to know so I can feel confident about an investment that's getting big in my portfolio. All right? Thank you. And let me know your thoughts. Oh, I've got to remind all the time. If you don't want to miss my videos, subscribe, because my new format is I make a bunch of short-ish videos. This one's 20 minutes. I can't seem to do short, but subscribe so you don't miss when I start releasing 2 and 3 videos a day. Otherwise, you're going to miss them, okay? And then I disappear for a while, and Google will think you forgot about me, and then when the new ones come, you won't know it. So you subscribe. Thank you.